Hey y'all, Michelle Raza here with the Finding Yourself Book Club, and today we're continuing to discuss John Gottman's What Makes Love Last. We're on the chapter about trust and the roots of attunement. So pretty cool stuff so far. Please do check out our website. We're at www.findingyourselfsatx.com. There you can take our life balance questionnaire, email it to us, and we'd be happy to chat with you about it free of charge if you're not already an existing client. And if you just want to connect with us and have a free-form conversation, you can do that as well. Send us an email if you're in the United States. Call or text us. I guess you can call or text either way. If you're not in the United States, it's just more pricey. And we'll be happy to talk with you. So without further ado, let's get started. So we've been talking about John Gottman's What Makes Love Last, Trust and the Roots of Attunement. This is his chapter 6. So in 1985, Gottman went off and did a study on parenting styles. He actually wrote a really cool book on parenting, which I recommend as well, and pretty much breaks it up into two different categories, which is, it's not an either or, it's more of a continuum. But you have dismissive parents, and then you have emotion coaching style parents. And when he's talking about attunement, and how to build a healthy relationship with each other, you essentially start emotion coaching each other, but you reciprocate, right? You're both the coach. It's not a parent-child relationship. You're equals. So we went into the example. We're starting to talk about George and Angel. So George doesn't really feel like his wife sees him or understands him emotionally. She seems pretty dismissive. This is what Angel had to say. Interviewer: Would your husband know if you were sad? Would he pick up on it? Angel: Yeah, he would pick up on it, not necessarily know what to do about it. Interviewer: So how does he respond to you? What would I see and hear when he responded to your sadness? Angel: I would say really probably he would make himself busy and he would retreat more. Lots of times he doesn't know what to do, and so he deals with it in a way that he feels he can deal with it. Rarely would he be loving and affectionate. I don't think he would do that. If I said to him, "Oh, give me a hug," or "I need affection," he would, no problem, but he doesn't figure that out on his own. Interviewer: How do you feel about this response? Angel, with an angry facial expression: I would certainly like for him to be more affectionate and loving and understanding and not internalize it. I would certainly like for that to be different. I think I've communicated that to him, but for him that takes a lot of effort. Thinking, oh, okay, because she said it's not my fault. It's not like something I've done wrong, or she's not trying to tell me that I need to be doing something different. That type of thing. Unlike her husband, Angel doesn't try to bottle her emotions. From her perspective, getting angry is the only way to get George's attention. Angel wishes that George would be affectionate and loving rather than defensive when she is sad, but she believes it's a lost cause. She doesn't expect her venting to lead to a positive experience, but at least she's putting the issues on the table. This couple's fundamental problem is an inability to respond to each other's emotions in a way that would deepen their connection rather than drive them further apart. Their mutual lack of empathy, at least in expression, builds up anger and resentment. Trust cannot be maintained under this scenario. Although it is not a complex skill, attunement requires a shift in meta-emotion away from the dismissing world of Angel and George and toward one where you each accept the other's emotions, including anger, sadness, and fear. Attunement is not about memorizing a script. It's about increasing your understanding of your partner and expressing acceptance and support. The easiest way to learn attunement methods is to start small, with non-threatening conversations that allow plenty of practice in opening up. Based on my work with countless couples, I have found an effective method that will allow most people to do just that. So then the next chapter is called Attunement Made Easy, the Art of Intimate Communication. So that's what we'll get into on the next video. But I will say, so, and I don't know if Gottman covers it in his book, but it's something that I've come across in my studies. I will say that in addition to, so dismissing, obviously, right, when one or the other feels dismissed, and I'm sorry, on the last video, I didn't realize that George dismissed Angel as much as Angel dismissed George. But when one or the other feels dismissed, right, you're setting yourself up for failure in that way. But also is communication style issues. And so one thing that I've been uncovering a lot in my own research is indirect versus direct communication. And so I read at one point in a book about, if you study cultures, different cultures have more direct or more indirect communication. So depending on how you were raised, I'm Mexican American. My ex-husband's Pakistani. So both indirect communication cultures. And so where you will send a message through subtext as opposed to direct communication. Whereas you have the North American style coming from Northern Europe, that's more direct communication. And so when you have that conflict of styles, that can cause issues in itself, right? Because it's not just talking to each other, which you want to talk to each other, but it's are you two understanding what the other is saying when you talk? And so in one of the books that I read, it said something about, like, for example, an indirect communicator would say something like, "Don't you think it's been a long time since we've gone out for Thai food?" And what they're really trying to say is, I would like to go out for Thai food, right? That's what they're trying to communicate. Whereas the direct communicator might hear, "Don't you think it's been a long time since we went out for Thai food?" And they may say, "Oh, we went out 2 months ago for Thai food. Is that a long time?" And then you'll go into a spiral of, like, the first person doesn't feel heard because the second person responded to the direct words as opposed to responding to the subtext. And honestly, I mean, I think we cannot divorce ourselves from how we grew up in our culture. But with patience, persistence, and understanding, you can move more towards a direct communication style. It takes both parties wanting to do that. And when you're having conflicts based on direct versus indirect communication, it takes acknowledging that that's even the issue, right? If you're talking in circles and you can't understand what the problem is, I would recommend taking a look at each of your communication styles. And I mean, the recommendation, and I tend to stand behind it, even though it's not my culture, is to go for direct communication. So respond only to the surface words, which will make the indirect communicator go crazy, right? But eventually they will have to state what it is that they're trying to say. Now, when you get into more complex conversations and communications, you may get stuck in gridlock or a rut because of the specific reason. And so Gottman actually would recommend, right, trying to read each other's intent, which I think is valid as well. But it's just kind of, you want to coach each other on how to communicate more directly, but at some point that coaching may lead you to gridlock. And so if that's the case, then maybe you'd want to switch and try to understand their intent or their meaning in order to resolve the conflict, and then move back into trying to understand how to coach the other person on more direct communication. So if you've ever done therapy, one of the things that they focus on is understanding your feelings, which a lot of us don't, especially if you're dismissed from early childhood. You don't even know how you feel, right? So a therapist will give you a feelings wheel and say, let's start identifying how you feel. What is this feeling that you have right now in your body? What is it? Are you happy? Are you bored? Identifying your feelings, feeling your feelings, establishing clear boundaries with others, and then expressing your needs. And so if you come from a place where you've been dismissed, whether that's culture or whether that's being parented by an emotionally immature person, or like Gottman's talking about, like being with a partner who's dismissive, then you might not even know how you feel because you've never been able to put words to it. And when you tried to express it, you've been dismissed. So it's very important, right? All of these steps are very important. And what Penny and I do is we're not going to fix you. I wish we could. If that was the case, I would have, a lot more money and be able to just fly off in my jet fixing people. We can't fix you, but we can give you the tools to help you get on the path to find yourself. I mean, it sounds corny, but that's the name of our business, right? We want to help you set your own path, your own goals. And then our job is to keep you accountable to those goals that you have set. Because if somebody else sets your goals for you, then that's not really, you're not finding yourself, you're finding their goals, whoever set those goals, right? So yeah, long spiel here, but look forward to talking with you on the next video where we're going to start talking about the art of intimate conversation by John Gottman. All right, take care, y'all. Have a great day. Look forward to talking with you soon.